Hello everybody. I'm making this video out of just sheer frustration with this Project Scorpio console. Since November, this new iteration of the Xbox system, the Xbox One X, has given me nothing but problems. In fact, I'll even go as far as saying it's probably the worst console I've ever owned. Um, I'm a 13-year Xbox supporter, right back to the original Xbox One. Stuck with him through all the red rings. And just up until recently, even had my first generation Xbox One since its release until I decided to upgrade to this guy. So I got the Project Scorpio edition on its release day, and it worked fine for a few days. Got a few games installed, was doing great. And then I noticed after about 10 days, I picked up a new game. I picked up the Wolfenstein game. I was playing games and trying to install things and just kept running into error after error, crash after crash. I would try and install the game. It would get about 20% through the game and just stop installing and would not continue to install. I would have very slow dashboard navigation. Trying to click through menus on the dashboard would not work. It'd freeze and boot me out. I would have to do a full power down and unplug the console and let it sit for half an hour for it to work. And then one day I came home and I tried to power it on and it would just sit at black screen and not do anything. So I sent it in, and then Microsoft sent me back this guy. So it's not the same console I had, it's a different serial number. So they sent me a full replacement on the Project Scorpio console. And after about a week now, this thing is starting to do the same thing. I'm getting Wi-Fi drops, Wi-Fi lag in gameplay choppiness. It's very slow through Dash. Sometimes Dash doesn't load. The console will crash. It'll freeze. Sometimes it won't even power up, boot up, or start up. So I'm going to detail in the comments section of this video the exact issues and the number of issues I've been having before I finally send this friggin' thing back in again. So I've had this thing unplugged for the past 30 minutes now because I tried booting it up again this morning and installing Halo 3 or Halo 5 Guardians for like the dozenth time. So I finally was able to, after several fits and starts and crashes with installations, get 7 games installed. Now, the issues I'm having with the console typically are not within the first 5-10 minutes of using the thing. It's after a steady period of use, half an hour or more, or even up to an hour. And then the thing will just start to either get hot or something. It's out in the open. This is how I play it. It's vertical. It's got plenty of room behind it. Plenty of room for airflow all the way over it. Okay. So I've had it unplugged, so I'm going to go ahead and plug it back in. I always plug it right directly into the wall, as Microsoft states, because it's supposed to have its own internal power support. So, plugged in. Okay. We're going to power it up now. And we'll see if it does its thing. So it's a little light on the monitor here. That'll turn blue when the console finally actually engages its HDMI port and decides to boot to the television. So I don't know if the microphone on the camera is sensitive enough to pick up the sounds that the console's making, but it's making kind of like an electric ticky sound, like the console's trying to boot up. I'm just going to get the camera close and see if you can pick it up. So I don't know if you could hear it right there or not, but it's going ding, 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 kind of making a little bit of a ticky electric sounding noise. So when it has its issues with booting and after I've been having troubles with it after a full shutdown, it'll sit here and typically try and do this boot sequence for about a period of a minute to 2 minutes, and then something will finally engage, and then the monitor will turn on. So we'll just sit here and wait for it to do something. Or anything. Alright, so the console looks like it's finally decided to send an HDMI signal out. Now it's still making that electric ticky sound like it's trying to boot up something or start up something. It doesn't sound like the fans have engaged, so there's nothing that's actually been active, it sounds like. So it still sounds like it's thinking or trying to boot or processing something. So this is what typically happens after the console freezes, crashes to the dash. It'll even crash like this when it's currently working. I could be in the middle of a game, I could be trying to install something on the dash, I could be trying to navigate through the dash, and then it'll do a complete software crash to a black screen. To that point, I then go to the Microsoft power button here and I just hold that thing for the 10 seconds as instructed online, do the full power cycle, and then start back over again. So this thing could sit here for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. The first time I started having troubles with this, and this was the exact problem, I was on phone with Microsoft for about 20 minutes, and during that entire time I had powered on the console and there was no boot. Typically that startup animation of the 4K screen and the chip would come up, but as you can see, just after about a minute or so, still no activity on the screen. I'm going to leave this going for about another 30 seconds to see if anything happens here, but I seriously doubt it. So this is pretty much what I've had to deal with this console. I've never had a full gaming session in the, I guess, 3 weeks of actual gameplay I've been able to play on this thing. I find that after about half an hour of gameplay, I start to get choppiness, I get drops, I get Wi-Fi issues, I get connectivity issues, dashboard freezing, dashboard choppiness, any host of other issues. I'm going to post my entire experience with what I've been having for technical support issues, because every time I try and report it even to Microsoft directly, I've been assigned a special consultant because of the issues I had right away with this console within 2 weeks. I've been conversing back and forth with the guy, and every time I tell him a technical spec, he never adequately acknowledges anything with the tech support piece of this. So his basic thing is just to send it back, we'll fix it, or send you a new one, without getting any direct acknowledgement that these problems actually exist. And they do exist. I can't be the only one, so hopefully this video has helped others.